Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the sports stuff video today. We're going over day one of all free agency moves in the NFL. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So honestly, yesterday I did the pre-free agency, kind of like got extended before the free agency window actually opened. Today, you can officially tamper and agree to contracts with certain guys for certain teams. So that's what we're going over in right now. So starting off at quarterback, Sam Darnold signed to the Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $100.5 million. I thought that'd be about the framework of any kind of deal you'd get anywhere. It's that Baker Mayfield contract, the 3 year, $100 million. Obviously after trading Geno Smith and DK Metcalf and cutting Tyler Lockett, they had to go for a quarterback. I think Sam Darnold was, of the quarterbacks available, he was one of the best. My issue is that Sam Darnold, when it comes to throwing against pressure, is still not a good quarterback, and the Seahawks have a horrible offensive line. That's my only issue. Obviously, you have Charles Cross, you have Abe Lucas, you have Olu Oluwatimi, but your guards are not too great. Olu was a rookie last year, didn't play too great, so I do worry about that with Sam Darnold in this future. But I like to hire Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator. I think he can get a lot out of Sam Darnold that Kevin O'Connell got. So I trust the signing. It's just I expected more interior offensive line moves than what's been happening so far. Like they would have done, let's just say for example, Sam Darnold and Aaron Banks and pair them up together in Seattle. I would like that a lot more. But because they haven't done any moves on the interior yet, I'm not gonna like this grade too much. But 3 years, $100.5 million, the Baker Mayfield contract. I think that's a good contract for Sam Darnold. Then Justin Fields signs with New York Jets, 2 years, $40 million to be underneath Tanner Eggstrand. I like it. I actually really like this move. There's a lot of smoke that he was going to go to the Jets. I don't know how real it was going to be, but obviously he was one of the first signings at quarterback anywhere in the NFL. So New York, they get their young quarterback they can actually continue to build around. He then gets Garrett Wilson, who he played with in Ohio State. Brees Hall, really good running back. A pretty solid offensive line where you already put a high draft pick in a left tackle of the future last year. So you have your franchise left tackle, you have a potential franchise quarterback, you have a franchise wide receiver. So your offense you believe in, and then on defense you have Sauce Gardner. You have Jamian Sherwood. You also extended, which we'll get into later, and they made a few signings on the defensive line as well. I like what the Jets are doing, man. I really like it. Aaron Glenn, I hope can be better next year than the Jets were last year. So I think Justin Fields is a step in the right direction. Then at quarterback as well, the Browns traded for Kenny Pickett. Um, I think it's a backup quarterback move. I think they were trying to elevate the level of their backup quarterback. They trade DTR in a fifth to get Kenny Pickett. I see him as a DTR replacement. He's a much better quarterback than DTR, but I just think he's going to be in the room. I don't think he's actually going to start, but it's a young quarterback that can develop, maybe, see a chance of developing this upcoming season for cheap. It's whatever. I would rather they sign like a Jacoby Brissett and Joe Flacco, and then they could trade for Kenny Pickett. But the fact that Kenny Pickett was the first move they made at quarterback does scare me. And they've made no other moves. There's been I'm looking at my phone right now just in case any moves happen while I'm recording the video. There are no Browns moves. I'm very disappointed in the Browns so far that all they've done is cut from their roster and add a bad quarterback. So we'll see what happens. So all these free agents are still available. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, Mason Rudolph, Joe Flacco, Mac Jones. All those guys are still available. So we'll see what happens with these guys when the free agency is over. Then at running back, Aaron Jones does re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings, 2 years, $20 million. That's a good move. Lock up the running back. Obviously, you're probably gonna be starting JJ McCarthy next year, unless they go for an Aaron Rodgers. Like maybe they try and win it all next year with a veteran quarterback, and they still have JJ McCarthy on his second year of his rookie deal, and just doesn't play. And that could also be an option. But Aaron Jones, I think that was good. He had a good year in Minnesota. He's always been a good running back. We'll see what happens. And Javonte Williams signed a 1 year, $3 million deal with Dallas. Low risk, high reward kind of deal for a guy who his rookie season before his injury was really good. Has kind of never rebounded. Najee Harris is currently, I believe, meeting. Where did they say he was meeting? He was meeting a team. I don't remember what it was. I think it was the Chargers. Yeah, Najee Harris went to the Chargers on a visit. So Najee Harris could end up being a Charger, meaning that J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards would not return. Nick Chubb, please come back to Cleveland. Do not go anywhere. Rico Dowdle, Kareem Hunt, good rotation backs that are going to be available in free agency, and a bunch of other running backs as well. But so far, the running back market's been pretty quiet. Same with the quarterback room. But a room that has not been quiet is the wide receivers. Lots of wide receivers have been bouncing around the league right now. Chris Godwin re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3 years, $66 million. Awesome for him. I really thought he would go in the open market and be one of the number one wide receivers. He was rated the #1 open wide receiver in the open market after Davante Adams signed a deal before free agency officially opens. So Chris Godwin uses that leverage, returns to Tampa Bay for $22 million a year. And it's a great number for Chris Godwin. He's one of the best wide receiver 2s in the NFL. So the fact that you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin returning this offense, that is a big plus for the Buccaneers. Then Davante Adams, we already talked about in the last video. He signed to the Rams, 2 years, $46 million. Same with Marquise Brown, 1 for 11. Darius Slayton was signed with the New York Giants, 3 for 36. I think that's actually a good move, right? You have Malik Neighbors as your #1 receiver. You have other guys that can be your wide receiver 2 role. And then you have Darius Slayton to be that slot wide receiver. You know, he's been a really good wide receiver the last couple of years. Very consistent, 500 to 800 yards a year. You get him on $12 million a year. That's a pretty good deal from Darius Slayton. I thought this way he was going to get in free agency. So he gets that, retains the New York Giants. I believe he is now the longest tenured Giant still on the team. So good for Darius Slayton. I'm happy he was able to, get that bag and stay with his team. Then Josh Palmer signed with the Buffalo Bills, 3 years, $36 million. Big body, wide receiver 2. I like it. I think him and Curtis Samuel will be swapping out minutes at wide receiver 2. You have Keon Coleman. You have Khalil Shakir you signed to an extension. I like just getting good route running and good guys who get open for Josh Allen. You don't need a wide receiver 1. You don't need Amari Cooper. You don't need Keenan Allen. You don't need Deontay Johnson. You don't need McCole Hardman. You get guys who can play their role to an efficient level, and I really like that. De'Ami Brown signs a 1 year for $10 million in Jacksonville. That is shocking to me. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. He's a good slot receiver, good, somewhat outside boundary guy, but $10 million? Dang, dude, good for De'Ami Brown. That's crazy to me. Tutu Atwell, 1 year, $10 million. I think Tutu Atwell will actually deserve that money more than De'Ami Brown. When Tutu Atwell's been relied on the last 2 years, he has really come through for them. Especially this year when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua had a lot of injury issues. Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson carried this Rams offense. And I really think that Tutu Atwell returning, I'm happy he gets to play another role. He'll probably step up and start where Cooper Kupp was playing, right? Him and Demarcus Robinson will swap minutes around. But 1 year, $10 million, I'm so happy for Tutu Atwell. Again, I didn't like his signing, his drafting. I didn't like when he got drafted in 2021. I thought it was a little bit of an overdraft. But he's really developed a speedster, crisp route runner role with the Rams, so I'm happy for him. Mac Hollins, 2 years, $8.4 million. Solid slot receiver. Don't really think there's anything special. He runs good routes. But again, I think there's other guys that just would have been better. Like you're telling me Tyler Lockett, Tyler Johnson, Juju. Oh, Juju wouldn't go back. But Brandon Cooks weren't better than Mac Hollins. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get me on that. Then at tight end, all the tight ends have re-signed with their original team. Actually, I think Evan Ingram took a visit with the Commanders. Was it the Commanders? I know Evan Ingram's on a visit right now. But Juwan Johnson, I think he's also on a visit. But everyone else is re-signed with their team. Mike Gesicki, we already talked about. Zach Ertz, we talked about. John Bates re-signed for 3 years, which I'm actually shocked about because he drafted a tight end last year. And you're going to re-sign John Bates and Zach Ertz. It's shocking. I'm not going to lie to you. Then at tackle, we already talked about Ronnie Stanley in the last video. Alaric Jackson. Dan Moore got $20.5 million in free agency. Oh my God. You know what? We're going to go. Dan. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at this. Dan Moore PFF. This dude was not good. Was not good last year. 67 overall grade. 66 pass blocking. 62 run blocking. 12 sacks. And he got $20 million. 12 sacks. I don't get it. I don't know if it's just the Tennessee Titans needed a person at left tackle, so they went out and signed someone. Dude, Cam Robinson is better. Larry Borum might be better. I know for a fact Shaylin Moore and Morgan Moses were better. Awful sign. I'll say that might be one of the worst signings. 12 sacks allowed at left tackle, and he got $20 million a year. Awful. Morgan Moses, 3 years, 80-24. That's not bad at all. $8 million a year for a veteran right tackle who's played a very long time in the NFL and had a really good year in New York last year. I'm okay with the Morgan Moses signing. This just tells me that what's his name? Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. This tells me that Mike Amonu is moving back in the guard because he was a stellar Pro Bowl, All-Pro level guard. and then they moved him out to tackle for some reason. So I think Morgan Moses going to right tackle, where Mike Amanu was playing tackle. It kicks him back in the guard. I like it. Jalen Moore, 2 years, 30 to play left tackle. Wasn't he on the... I forgot what team he was on. Jalen Moore. Was he on the 49ers last year? Jalen Moore, PFF. We'll do that. Jalen Moore, PFF. I believe he was on the tackle of the Niners last year. I want to make sure. Yeah, he was on the Niners, if I'm not mistaken. And he took over for Trent Williams because of injury. But they gave him 2 year, $30 million. I think it's more the film that they've actually seen. They like Jalen Moore. I thought Jalen Moore would get like 3-4 million to be a starter somewhere. 2 for 30. Good for Jalen Moore, man. His agent must have been wheeling and dealing, because that's crazy, man. 2 years, 30 for a dude who played what, 270 snaps. That's a couple of games. He didn't play bad. I want to make sure he did not play bad when the 49ers relied on him. But 2 years, 30. That's crazy. Drew Dahlman, obviously South Chicago Bears. That was the most open-aired, like, everyone knows it's going to happen. When is it going to break? Signing. They trade for Jonah Jackson. They trade for Joe Tooney. They have Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright. All they needed was a center. They, of course, went and got the best young center in the open market. Everyone knew it was going to happen. 3 years, 42 for a really good center. Good for them. The Minnesota Vikings, they improve on Garrett Bradbury. And they grabbed Ryan Kelly to play center. Again, all-pro, Pro Bowler the last couple of years. 2 years, $18 million. Good for the Vikings to bolster into the offensive line. Austin Corbett re-signed with the Panthers. Bradley Bozeman re-signed with the Chargers. Both solid veteran centers that re-signed to their teams. No issue with it at all. Patrick McCarry signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3 for 37. $12 million a year for Patrick McCarry is crazy work, dude. I don't understand. Why is free agency everyone getting overpaid like this? This is crazy. Patrick McCarry's not bad, but he's like a break in case of emergency starter. Like, he's an okay starter, but you're not paying him $12 million a year to be the full-time starter unless you're Jacksonville. Like, that is just crazy to me, man. Crazy. Aaron Banks, in my opinion, the best guard that was available in this year's draft. This year's free agency. 4 years, $77 million going to Green Bay. I love it. He gets to protect Jordan Love. Not super similar schemes. I definitely think that the Packers are more of a passing team that will run the ball, not a running team that will throw the ball. So I think Aaron Banks, a little bit of a scheme change was coming for him. But again, I thought, not 18, $19 million a year was my range for him. I had more like 8 to 12, and he got another $6 million on top of that. So good for him. Happy he was able to cash in on a couple of good years in San Francisco. But yeah, Green Bay, bolster into the offensive line. I'm all for it. This offensive line needs to go through a major retooling, and I think this is a step towards that direction. Evan Brown re-signed to the Arizona Cardinals. They could not let him walk. 2 for 11.5. He was a very good guard for them last year. I'm not shocked that he re-signed. And then Ben Bredeson, 3 for 22. A little bit of an overpay, but when you want to keep your own guys, you got to do what you got to do in the open market. They were trying to probably match another team. And he's like, you know what? I'd rather stay in the team I'm already with. I know I like the guys. I like the locker room. I like the coach. Let me just resign. So 3 for 22. Other guys are still available. Robert Jones, I think on a 1-year deal, 1-year flyer. He's a good guy for people. Matt Pryor had an okay year last year. Dalton Risner had a good year last year. Will Hernandez has really recouped his value. Brandon Scherf, the veteran. Mekhi Becton, I think he's probably going to get a big deal whenever he signs somewhere. Tevin Jenkins, Kevin Zeitler, James Daniels, and Will Fries, I expect all to have pretty good deals when they sign as well. Then an edge defender, I already talked about Khalil. Oh, I don't think I talked about Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, 1 year, $18 million, fully guaranteed. Good for Khalil Mack, man. They cut Joey Bosa. They signed Khalil Mack. I think it was mainly because Khalil Mack has been more healthy, so they'd rather spend that $18 to $25 million that they were spending on Joey Bosa. They'd rather spend on Khalil Mack because they know he's going to be healthy next year. Had a really good year last year as well in this system. So happy he's able to, have a 1 year resurgence to try and make the playoffs with the LA team this year. Josh Sweat, 4 for 76 for the Arizona Cardinals. I knew that was going to happen. I said that entire offseason. Josh Sweat is going nowhere but Arizona. Jonathan Gannon was his defensive coordinator when he came into the NFL. He had his career year with Jonathan Gannon. Obviously, he had his best playoff run this season, but he had a best career season the other Super Bowl year they went, where Jonathan Gannon was the defensive coordinator. So not shocked he's going to follow him to Arizona to be his true star pass rusher for him. Hassan Reddick, 1 for 14 to Tampa Bay. I like that, actually. I like that a lot. They get a veteran on the edge who knows how to get to the quarterback, right? I still think they're gonna re-sign a couple of their pass rushers they had last year. I think it's a good chance that guys like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, they don't have everyone here, but I definitely think Joe Tryon's gonna be coming back as well on a 1-year deal. Just say like, hey, come back to the team. We know you, who you are. You know us. We're gonna, make this work. I think that's what they're gonna do next after Hassan Reddick officially signs. Malcolm Kuntz, I don't really know how to pronounce that name. I don't want to be racist. So Malcolm from Las Vegas, 1 year, $12 million. That is insane money for Malcolm. If I'm not mistaken, he had an okay year, but you're telling me 1 for 12, 1 year, $12 million? That's crazy. He didn't even play last year. He was hurt, it looks like. That's just so much money. I know he's a good run stopper, but Jesus, I didn't know it was $12 million. Man, the Raiders are just throwing around money. Then Dayo Odeyingbo from the Indianapolis Colts. I thought this kind of market he would get is 12 to 15 million. He ends up getting that 17, $18 million deal with the Chicago Bears. Good for him. Another dude that this is a really good run stopper, and this past season had his best season as a pass rusher, but it's just a really good run stopper. I think that's something that really matters in the NFL, is having a good run stopper. I do think Chase Young could still sign on like a 2-year deal with the Chicago Bears. I think they're one more edge rusher away from solidifying the defensive line. Have Montez Sweat, Dayo, and Chase Young. That's a trio I would love to have in Chicago. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Chase Young. The rumors come from that. But Dayo, good run defender, good pass rusher. Chicago Bears, I think I really like him. Derek Barnett re-signed with the Houston Texans, 1 for 5. Again, really good pass rusher. This didn't really have the greatest season last year. I think he had 5.5 sacks. Which definitely is lower than what we would expect from Derek Barnett. So I think him re-sign with Houston is trying to re-sign the team that he knows he can succeed in and cash in next offseason. Darrell Taylor as well, 1 for 5.25. That's a depth pass rusher. Coming up from the Seattle Seahawks. He's a very good speed rusher and a very good run defender. So Darrell Taylor, I think, is a perfect fit for a depth piece in Houston. Michael Hoyt, 3 up to 24. I love Michael Hoyt at D tackle. Y'all know I love Michael Hoyt. I think he's an underrated pass rusher, good run defender as well. He is constantly getting in the backfield and getting TFLs. So I think the Buffalo Bills, that is a great signing for them as a potential starter. Pat Jones going to the Carolina Panthers, solid veteran depth guy. 2 years up to $20 million. Not bad at all for a dude that I think is going to play high rotation minutes for the Panthers. So I think that's a great steal. But there's still a lot of guys available, man. Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, Chase Young, Joey Bosa, Azeez Ojulari, DeMarcus Lawrence, Matt Judon, Preston Smith, Josh Uche, Brandon Graham, he's going to retire, Carl Lawson, Dietrich Wise, the veteran, Jamin Davis, the young guy, Lorenzo Carter, Draymond Jones, DeMarcus Walker. Lots of good talent still left. So if your team has not signed a defensive lineman yet, trust me, there's still a lot of guys that can play high-minute rotations for you. Then in the interior of the defensive line at D tackle, Milton Williams signed that massive $26 million a year deal with the New England Patriots. They struck at the last second before he started the Panthers. Milton Williams is a true game wrecker at D tackle, amazing pass rusher, and has really developed as a run stopper as well. Once Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox weren't really part of that rotation because Fletcher Cox retired, Jordan Davis got hurt. Milton Williams finally got the chance to start, and he really took it and ran. And in his career season, in his last year of his deal, has a career season. I think it's a great sign for Milton Williams to go to New England and get a true starting job next to Christian Barmore. That's an amazing D tackle pairing. Like, that is probably one of the best D tackle pairings in the NFL. Milton Williams next to Christian Barmore. That's amazing. That's so good. BJ Hill returns to Cincinnati Bengals, 3 years, $33 million. Not bad. Good pass rusher. Has some issues at run defending, but BJ Hill has succeeded with the Cincinnati Bengals the last couple of seasons. So I think him returning is a good sign that they are trying to re-sign their own guys. Grady Jarrett goes to Chicago Bears, 3 years, $43.5. I like it. Bringing in that veteran voice for that young defensive tackle room with Gervon Dexter and other guys like that. I really like it. 10 years in the NFL so far, all with Atlanta. He comes to Chicago. I like that they're being active and willing to pay guys, no matter if they're young or old. They're trying to fix the trenches. And I love that for Chicago. I have a lot of hope for the Chicago Bears this upcoming season. Jerron Reed, I already talked about it yesterday. Really good run defender. Happy he got the re-sign with the Seahawks on that big of a deal. Puna Ford signed with the Los Angeles Rams, another really good run defending defensive lineman. This is more than likely their Michael Hoyt replacement in Puna Ford. So I think that's really good. 10 mil a year for Puna Ford compared to Michael Hoyt's 8 mil a year in Michael Hoyt. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. A little bit of an overpay, but I'm gonna guess there's not a lot of guaranteed money in that. Deshaun Wharton, this is their replacement for Milton Williams. 3 years, up to $54 million. That's a lot of money for Wharton. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I know for a fact that Deshaun Wharton, he did not have an amazing season last year. It was fine. It wasn't bad, right? 56 overall. Not a great run defender, but a good pass rusher last year. 18 tackles, 7 sacks. Like, he's not bad. He is not bad at all. But, man, that's a lot of money for him. That's a lot of money. Tier Tart, again, really good run defending nose tackle. 1 year, $5.5 million. I like Tier Tart to the Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, sorry, re-signed with the Los Angeles Chargers because he had a really good year last year. I said in 2024's offseason that Tier Tart is going to be a steal at D tackle, and he had a great season at like a vet minimum. So he gets a little bit of a pay raise. Good for him. DJ Jones re-signed to the Denver Broncos, 3 years, $39 million. Really good run defender. This was their guy on the defensive line that was stopping the run. So maybe they were able to get him back on $13 million a year. Not a massive overpay compared to some of these guys. So I think that's actually kind of a steal for them, knowing how big the market was getting for D tackles. Sebastian Joseph Day re-signed to the Tennessee Titans, 1 year, $7.5. Again, found a spot in Tennessee. Good run defender. Adam Butler re-signs with Las Vegas, 3 for $16.5. Good pass rusher. Vegas, they're really trying to keep these trenches intact, so I really like that. Javon Kinlaw, 3 years, $45 million to the Commanders. That might be one of the first times I'm like, ugh, that's not good. Like, Javon Kinlaw, man, did not have a good year last year. 27 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 24 run stops, 30 pressures. He just didn't impress me, right? It seemed like it was a lot of, like, clearing up other people's tackles and a lot of other people's sacks is how he got it. I just wasn't impressed with Javon Kinlaw on the Jets last year. But maybe because he's on the Commanders, he's going to be playing in rotation with Jazon Newton and Deron Payne. Maybe he can have the exact same effect in Washington. Because 3 years, $45 million for a dude who can put up these stats isn't awful. I honestly didn't think it was because of Javon Kinlaw. I thought it was more that the guys around him, he was just cleaning up sacks and tackles. TJ Slayton from the Packers goes to the Bengals. 2 years, $15 million. I love that for them because they cut, why am I seeing his name? They cut Sheldon Rankins. So they were able to replace him with a much younger guy in TJ Slayton for much cheaper as well. So I like that signing. Good pass rusher at D tackle. Chris Tonga signed with the New England Patriots. 1 for 2.7. Again, nose tackle that I think is a good depth guy that, if he needs to start, he's had starting experience with the Arizona Cardinals. I like it. Sheldon Rankins leaving after getting cut from the Bengals. Goes to Houston Texans. 1 year, up to $7 million. Not bad. I believe he was on the Texans a few years ago. So he just kind of comes back. And then Roy Robertson Harris. New York Jets, 2 years, $10 million. Another dude that just is a good, solid run defender, right? He was getting overpaid in Seattle, so they had to cut him. But he's just a really solid run defender. That's what every team needs, is a good run defender on the defensive line. And I think they got that for $5 million a year. That's a good deal for Roy Robertson Harris. But again, like I said with the edge rushers, this might even be even deeper at D tackle, right? Javon Hargrave, great. Levi Onwuzurike, great. Jonathan Allen, great. Calais Campbell, good. Larry Ogunjobi, good. Kevin Gibbons and Roy Lopez, solid. Greg Gaines, good rotation guy. Neville Gallimore, good rotation guy. Foley Fatukasi, good rotation guy. Eddie Goldman, good veteran. Like, lots and lots of depth at D tackle. Plus, you can add Dalvin Tomlinson to this room because the Browns cut him today. Like, there's so many good D tackles still available. Honestly, also I would add Draymond Jones to D tackle. He fits more as a 3-4, 4-3 interior defensive lineman. So I don't know why he's on defensive ends. He's definitely more of a interior defensive guy. So there's even more guys that are going to be coming, man. I'm so excited. I think this is a really good defensive line class that's still available going into day 2. Then at linebacker, Dre Greenlaw signed with the Denver Broncos, 3 years, $35 million. Great for Dre Greenlaw after that 20C on the Super Bowl, which was brutal. Battled back, tried to help the San Francisco 49ers team still compete. Just never really worked out. So he's able to walk because they decided not really prioritize him when it comes to free agency. They want, they let him test the market. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to deuce out. I'm going to Denver Broncos where I can be a starter 3 years, 35 million for a really good pass protector, really good run defender. I like it for Dre Greenlaw. Ernest Jones, a really good in-season trade from the Seattle Seahawks from the Rams. 3 years, 33 million. That's about the range I had for him. Was about 10 to 12 million. So they got it right dead in the middle at 11 million. Good for Ernest Jones, really good blitzer. He really found his role in Seattle as that guy in the linebacker room that can blitz and stop the run before he even gets to the line of scrimmage. I think that's a really good signing for 11 million for Ernest Jones. Jamien Sherwood, one of the most underrated linebackers last year in New York. They're a do-it-all linebacker, Swiss Army knife that I think Aaron Glenn is going to love. This is their Alex Anzalone. I want to call it right now. This is their Alex Anzalone, who's going to win team MVP because he's going to be so good next year. I'm calling it right now. Jamien Sherwood, 3 for 45, cheaper than I expected. I thought somewhere in the range of 18 to 20 million for Jamien Sherwood. Get him for 15. Good for them. Robert Spillane, solid depth linebacker. 3 years, 37 million. I expect they're going to cut Bobby Okereke any moment now to save that money. Because I don't think you can pay Okereke, Spillane, and you have that third-year linebacker that you really like. I just don't know how you're going to be able to pay all those guys and comfortably pay all those guys. Then Cody Barton, 3 years, 21 million with the Titans. Again, really good run-stopping linebacker with the Denver Broncos. He had a career year with the Broncos. He's always been a pretty good linebacker, whether it was with Seattle or the Commanders, and then with Denver. He's always been solid, but finally in playing minutes, he actually showed that he's a good run stopper. And I think the Tennessee Titans are going to really like that on their defense. Then Akeem Davis-Gaither, 2 years, 11 million with the Cardinals. Again, another good run defender who's actually a plus pass defender as well. I think Akeem Davis-Gaither fits in perfectly with that linebacker room. And even linebacker is really deep, right? Christian Roseboom and Devin White with good rotation guys. Divine Diablo was a really good starter. EJ Speed and Jerome Baker, good veteran linebackers. Devin Bush was an amazing run defender. Terrell Dotson was a really good pass defender last year. Linebacker is still deep. Like, trust me, there's still guys in the linebacker room that you can grab that you would feel comfortable starting day one. Then at corner, man, there's a lot of moves at corner, guys. Like, it was crazy. So DJ Reed starts it off at the Lions, 3 years, 48 million. That is a great deal, 16 million a year for DJ Reed. It sucks you had to lose Carlton Davis, who you traded for, but you get a guy even cheaper than Carlton Davis, who is better than Carlton Davis. This is one of the best cornerback number 2s in the NFL the last few years. Finally comes to Detroit, can be that cornerback number 1. Terrion Arnold knocks down cornerback number 2, and I trust that for only 16 mil a year. Travarius Ward, again, I think DJ Reed might be better than Travarius Ward at this point. But Travarius Ward, 3 years, up to 60 million. So 20 mil a year for Travarius Ward. Good guy. He's a really good player. But man, 20 mil a year. It's just crazy. I'm looking at these deals, man. I'm so happy the Browns have Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and MJ Emerson. Like, it's crazy. This is so much money. Then Carlton Davis goes to New England Patriots again. They now have their cornerback number 2 opposite of Christian Gonzalez. So I like it. Good pass defender. When he was healthy, he was really good for the Lions. Unfortunately, just got hurt right before the playoffs started. But Carlton Davis, when healthy, was really good. Happy he was able to cash in that 20 million a year contract. Nate Hobbs goes to the Green Bay Packers. Finally, they have a really good slot corner now. 4 years, 48 million, 12 mil a year. I think Nate Hobbs can play on the outside, but for the Green Bay Packers, they already have their young guys on rookie contracts on the outside, plus Jair Alexander, who is technically still on the roster. So Nate Hobbs can slot in perfectly in that slot corner where he's been dominating the last few years. Paulson Adebo signed the New York Giants, 3 years, 54 million. Again, nearly 20 mil a year. I did think that's a little bit much, but, I don't know everything. So, 12 million, what was that? 24, 14. That's almost like 16 mil a year, right? That's 16 mil a year. Paulson Adebo the last 2 years has been top 5 when it comes to passer rating allowed. Last year in 2023 was number 1 in passer rating allowed, and in 2024 was top 5, even with the injuries that he dealt with. So they get him on 16 mil a year. Not awful for the New York Giants, but I thought Paulson Adebo was going to go for a little less than that. But the Giants, they get their quarterback number 1 with all their young guys like Deontay Banks and Cardell Float. They go naturally into their cornerback 2 and slot corner roles. Paulson Adebo can now be that lockdown number 1 corner. Brandon Stevens, I thought was a little bit of an overpay. 3 for 36 for the Jets. This is their DJ Reed replacement. Solid cornerback. Again, he was getting picked on by every team in the playoffs for a reason. I am shocked he got 12 mil a year. I trust Aaron Glenn, though. Aaron Glenn, former cornerback coach, then defensive coordinator, where he relied heavily on the corners. So he must see something that I don't see. I just don't think it's a great signing. Isaiah Rodgers cashes in 2 years, 15 million with the Vikings. I think that's a great deal to be their slot corner. Really good zone guy. Can play press corner, but I think zone is where he naturally fits in, and that's what Brian Flores loves to run. Dante Jackson, 2 years, $13 million, veteran corner. Nothing special with the Chargers. I am a little shocked that they instead of prioritizing Asante Samuel Jr., they went with Dante Jackson, because you have Tarheeb Still, who was a really good rookie last year. I'm shocked that they, prioritize Asante Samuel. Maybe he can still come back and be on the team next year, but we'll see. But yeah, Dante Jackson, 2 years, $13 million, $6.5 million for a veteran, not awful. My guy, Jordan Lewis, I'm shocked, man. He got $10 million a year. I thought around 4 to 7 was his range. Luckily for him, the Jaguars need corner. The Jaguars did actually a really good job this so far in free agency. They've paid a lot of guys a lot of money, but they're filling holes with guys that they know have worked in other teams. So Jordan Lewis, a really good outside boundary corner, number one. He slots in immediately as their starter, but I still think they can go a guy like Travis Hunter in the first round. 3 years, 30, great deal for Jordan Lewis. For the Jaguars, a little bit of an overpay, but you secure your cornerback room with a good veteran. Michael Jackson, wow, 2 years, 14.5. Dude, what are the Panthers doing? Maybe I need to go out and run and start defending some routes, dude. 2 years, $14 million for Michael Jackson? He's an okay corner. He's not bad. 2 years, 14.5. Am I the one in the wrong, dude? Michael Jackson. There's no way Michael Jackson was that good last year. There's no way. I'm shocked. Well, 67 tackles. That's top 10 cornerbacks. Wow, 2 interceptions, 16 run stops, 13 pass breakups. Oh my God, Michael Jackson cooked. He cooked. I'm in the wrong. Michael Jackson, that's a great deal. Holy crap. 67 tackles, 13 PBUs. He was getting cooked, dude. 60 receptions allowed. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to hold my tongue. I think that's pretty good, actually, for $7 million a year for Michael Jackson. I'm not against it. I'm all for it now. I changed my mind. Then at safety, Cam Bynum, 4 years, $60 million. Yep, $15 million a year. I thought maybe 18 to 20 was his range, so the Colts get a little bit of a discount. But 4 years, 60 for Cam Bynum. He did everything for the Minnesota Vikings last year. Amazing run defender, amazing pass defender, really good blitzer. I think the Indianapolis Colts, that is a perfect fit, because they're probably going to lose Julian Blackmon, who I don't think has signed anywhere yet. He has not signed anywhere yet, but Cam Bynum is a souped-up Julian Blackmon, because Julian Blackmon did a good job last year, right? He was a really good do-it-all safety. But Cam Bynum, he was just better. He was better. There's nothing else I can say. Then Talanoa Hufanga, 3 years, $45 million. He had an injury-riddled season, really good run defender. Not the best pass defender in the world, but when you already have a really good secondary that's really good at pass coverage, getting a run-stopping specialist at safety, not an awful idea. Then Trevon Merrick signed with the Carolina Panthers, 3 years, $51. Not bad at all. Again, I agree with this. Really good run defender. Plays hybrid linebacker as well, so he has some chess piece movability with them. But man, 3 years. What are dude? I need to lace them up. Apparently, the Panthers are paying everyone. Dude, I can go run some routes. I can catch a ball. Like 3 years, 51 for Trevon Merrick. Oh my God, I need to lace him up, dude. Jeremy Chin, 2 years, $16 million. That's a steal for the Raiders. This dude was amazing last year with the Commanders. He was amazing his first few years in Carolina. 4-3 defenses is where he cooks, and I believe that's what the Raiders are running this next season with Patrick Graham. Jeremy Chin's gonna cook in Las Vegas, and that's gonna be a steal of a contract. Good for Jeremy Chin, good for the Raiders. Elijah Molden, I already talked about in my last video. Eric Murray, a veteran safety, good depth piece. 3 years, 22.5. That gives me starter money. That tells me that's some starter money, and I'm not shocked. I'm a little worried though, right? I mean, starter money for Eric Murray in 2025. All right, good run defender, not the best pass defender, but yeah, we'll see what happens. 3 for 22.5. That's shocking, man. So what in the hell? What are they cooking? Roster. Let me go to the roster real quick. Does it have like a area where it shows offseason? There we go. So I want to see this real quick. So this is not gonna show me, is it? It's showing me last offseason. That sucks. Okay, that's showing me last offseason. So these Jags, man, they've signed so many people. I mean, it's impressive. They signed a safety, a corner, A safety, a corner. I know I saw him somewhere. A safety, a corner, an interior offensive lineman, and Patrick McCarry to play guard. De'Ami Brown, that's odd. I forgot about De'Ami Brown. And De'Ami Brown. Them and the Panthers have been very active, man. But you gotta do what you gotta do. But again, there's still a lot of guys that are available. I want to make sure I say that. There are so many guys that are still available, whether it be quarterback, wide receiver, defensively, especially on the defensive line and offensive line. There's so many good players still available. So yeah, that is just my recap of all the signs that have happened so far in day one of the NFL offseason at 8:35 p.m. To check before I end the video. All right, yep, that is all the moves that have happened so far. So if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below, what's your reaction, guys? What do you feel about day one? What teams have not really done anything? Browns, haven't really done anything, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye. I'll see you tomorrow for day two.